Welcome back to another edition of the Gabagools Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff. With me today, a little identity crisis or name change, or I don't know. We got Johnny Duya, aka formerly Richie Fourbags. How we feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. Just ready for day two, and this is going to be a big day for a lot of teams. Yesterday, most teams get one pick and then they're done. Today, a lot of teams, multiple teams have multiple second round picks, so it's going to be a big day for Browns, Bears. I'm sure there's a couple other teams that maybe have or might slide up and grab some more picks.
Absolutely. And I told you this before, off air too. I was like waiting. I saw Hampton get drafted. We'll break the draft down a little bit deeper, but it was kind of a boring draft up until that point too, because there wasn't a lot of skill players taken. It was very down in the trenches, which obviously everyone's going to mimic what the Eagles, the Lions have done over the last couple of years. I'm probably missing a team. Got to build the trenches up to make your team be, safe and sound, because these quarterbacks, I mean, we saw it with Mahomes. With that Swiss cheese line, you got Eagles last night.
And in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, it was very reminiscent of that, and it's
Yes.
not like they added to the team; they made it better. But yeah, do we just want to go off the rip, or do you want to? Oh, real quick. So you're gonna love this, just because I'm old school with it. So I have my little notebook that I do for the NFL draft or just fantasy in general. So I have it going back to, obviously, here's some mock draft for fantasy.
Okay.
I think I have the one in here. Here's the 24 draft. And then my favorite was our trade that we made with the Tyreek Hill and Joe Burrow. Basically, because this would have been, 4 title runs in a row I would have had if I would have kept that group.
Oh my God, here we go again.
I broke down the points too. So
I love your diary. That's very cute. You're gonna put your thoughts and feelings in it.
yeah. Anyway, let's start us off. Obviously, Titans take Cam Ward. The Will Levis Mayo era is over in Tennessee. I would imagine he gets traded. Will Levis, that is, to another team. I think the biggest thing for me out of this draft class, relating it to fantasy, relating it to the NFL, the QBs were not the star of this draft so far. And even this class is not the star. We don't have the Caleb Williams. We don't have the Jaden Daniels. You go back even a couple more years, you don't have these stud QBs this year. You have some very good ones, I think. Dart and Ward, obviously we just mentioned, but I think I think going forward, I think this is just going to prove that you can't just overdraft QBs as well.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, Cam going one is definitely. I think it's awesome just from where he started, 0-star recruit,
100%.
Incarnate Ward to Washington State to Miami. Talk about the ultimate like from the bottom story. And I always like the videos of like him and Shadur talking shit to each other.
Yeah.
When they're working out together, it's like Shadur, like you actually got like babied here, and this dude started from fucking nothing. Like, but that's poetic justice, as good old Shadur right now is still on the clock because of his. I'm gonna say it's not necessarily the intangibles, but I'm gonna say the attitude had a big part in him falling out. Otherwise, somebody would have reached for him in the first round.
I think so as well. And I think it does fall on just that like mindset he had, like obviously coming out of Jackson State with his dad. That was cool. That was a fun story. Let's see what he does at the next level, because he did really well at Jackson State. But I
Hmm.
think his attitude, I think it became this whole thing. I mean, how ridiculous was it too? I mean, I get Travis Hunter getting his number retired because he did win the Heisman, but my goodness, why are we doing that? They were, I mean, did they even have a positive record? I think they were like,
In 2 years that they were there, right? The first year was 4-8, and this year I can't remember off the top of my head, but the number is 13-12 for the 2 years, 13-12, and you think you're some type of legends? Like it's actually crazy.
yeah,
But that's just classic like Dion behavior, right?
it
Like
is. It is.
he Shooter acts that way for a reason. He grew up with like that his father is literally like that and has that personality. I don't blame him for acting the same way, but dude, you got to realize when to pull back sometimes. So he definitely ate his humble pie last night, and hopefully today he probably comes out a little more um, I don't know, humble about the situation. I'm
Uh,
sure he'll get picked early, right? He's not going to be sitting in the mid
no.
second round by any means. As you were saying, just moments before we got on, he's probably going to the Browns with one of those two picks,
Absolutely.
which would definitely upgrade them. And then also, I think that's kind of funny because like it's a Browns quarterback. We can get into that, at some other point. But historically, does not work out at all. Poor management. So then, does his career just take a flop? As I've said, the Browns kill more careers than the Hood.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think, what's funny though is I actually think Shadir, because he didn't go in the first round, the expectations are going to be so low now. Just because it is a significant difference too. I mean, when you look at the QBs drafted in the first round, the expectations are sky high. I think if he does go to the Browns, which would just be hilarious too, because I don't think he wants to go there. I think he'll go anywhere at this point, but um, you know, if he can learn from Joe Flacco and actually just listen, I think he could be okay. I mean, the numbers weren't terrible. I broke that down too on my or on a solo show I did the other night. His numbers his completion percentage was like 74%, which is pretty crazy for having almost 5,000 passing yards too. I think he just played behind a horrific line. I think just it was him and Travis, and Colorado was just never going to be that. Gateway to the league. And if he did go somewhere else, I think we're talking he does go first round,
Sure.
attitude and all. But back to Ward. Obviously, he was a Heisman finalist. I think that's a great landing spot for him. He's going to start right away. I think I have faith in. I think what is it? Brian Callahan is his name, the head coach there. I
Yeah.
think he can. He did good with Burrow. I think Ward will be okay. I think he's going to be a decent one. Now, when it comes to fantasy, I'm not touching him before 1-5. And 1-5, I'm even struggling to do that.
Sure. I mean, we're about to see in this today. We're about to see a lot of good running backs go off the board. Are going to put up some really good production. But in terms of fantasy, yeah, I probably wouldn't take him in the top three. I'll differ a little bit from you. I probably wouldn't take him in the top three. Depends on need, right? If you're dying and you're in your dynasty league and you really need a quarterback that's gonna maybe pan out in the future. He has a relatively high ceiling, I would say. He could become a
He
Pro Bowler.
does.
I don't think he's going to be an MVP in the league, but if that, depending on what you need, sure, go for it. But then again, as we always say, you draft best available for best talent, not need.
Yeah. And, based off of landing spots last night, too, we saw a couple that I think move up, and I think we see a couple move back as well. But yeah, just based off of talent alone, I'm not. I struggle to touch him before 1-5, and at that point too, if I have a top 3 pick, I'm going to try to trade for a different QB. I would probably take Jordan Love, that kind of tier of quarterback over him, and try to gain another pick in the back. Because honestly, if you're drafting that high, you're probably not contending anyway.
Yeah.
You might be able to flip some of these guys anyway. But moving into the second pick, we got Travis Hunter. Obviously, the Browns traded back with Jacksonville. Picked up another first next year as well, and I think what did they pick up another second for this draft too?
Yeah, something like that, or maybe third.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty expensive price for moving up. I mean, he's going to be worth it if he does play both ways, like he's expected to. I think Travis Hunter is going to be a star. I think that was a great complimentary piece to Brian Thomas Jr. And hopefully, if T Law can stay healthy and stay on the field, I think he's going to unlock him. And I think this is actually going to be a nice pick. I really like Hunter now. I've watched a lot more tape on him, and maybe it's just because we play IDP. So like I kind of like having both sides of it. But I think he's your 1-2 now. I think right behind Genty, I think you take Travis Hunter.
Sure. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Because the landing spot, now that he's not on the Browns and we actually know who's throwing him the damn ball, and he's also got a complimentary wide receiver next to him.
Yeah, who put up 1,000 yards in his rookie season, arguably one of the better rookie seasons we've seen. Him and Neighbors both had some really impressive rookie seasons. So yeah, I think that helps Hunter. I think it helps Brian Thomas. T-Law, we're gonna see. I don't know. I think this is the year we're gonna find out if he's gonna be what he's supposed to be, or if he's gonna bust out, and they're gonna have to think about Archman. The Arch sweepstakes is going to be on
Yeah,
soon.
that's
Here, come August, it's going to be the Arch sweepstakes.
absolutely. You know what? Too, just building off of that point, it's like the 2021 QB class is going to go down if T-Law doesn't end up panning out. He's had one good season out of what, 4 now.
Yeah.
If he doesn't pan out, that's going to go down as one of the all-time bust QB rooms. And yes, I know my Jets have Justin Fields now, and I'm about like a 6.5 out of 10 excited about him now. I'll say we'll bring him up when we hit the Jets, but like I said, I think the 22 class was also bad at QB. And I don't know why so many of these QB classes are just like flopping so hard. I don't know if it's just because the quality of these skill players and these wide receivers are coming out of nowhere.
It's hard to play QB. It's hard to find good QBs. What's the number one position that washes out? Well, I don't even know if that to be true, but I perceive it to be true. What's the hardest position to retain in the NFL and be good at? Quarterback.
That's why honestly I'm kind of going to play devil's advocate with Sanders. I'm going to go backtracking on what I said. I don't think he's like, maybe it's just like I didn't think he was going to go in the first round, but I'm going to say like he might end up turning out to be decent out of this class because, like I said, it's kind of an unimpressive class outside of a handful of guys, just because they're not going to come in and start right away. But you never know. But moving on from Hunter, like I said, he'll go 1-2 in your draft. A couple of position players will just rip him off. Giants
not surprising. Yeah,
not a surprise there. Will Campbell, Mr. Small Hands, went to Patriots.
Small arms.
His hands look small too.
I guess they bred the little T-Rex arms.
He basically did, dude. If you want, like, they zoomed in on him, and he's like sitting there like this. I'm like, this poor guy. And then Mason Graham went to the Browns.
What a Browns pick.
Carter, actually, I know that was kind of surprising too because you have Keon Thibodeau and then you have Brian Burns, who you gave up a shit ton for. I get it. You want to build up that defense, but I mean, do they run a 3-4? I mean, that's
a 4-3.
Do they run a 4-3? Okay, because I was going to say none of those guys really fall into a defensive tackle position. So unless you're running, I mean, that's the only thing I think that works is if you run a 3-4 defense and you have Carter on the outside with Thibodeau and then you have Burns on the line. So I don't know. Will Campbell too. I like that pick a lot for the Patriots. You got to protect Drake May. I kind of wanted Genty to go there just because I knew that whoever goes there, which Caleb Johnson, we'll talk about him, potentially today. I think he's going to fit in with the Patriots perfectly, just being a big, bulky back. And, with what the hell is their coach's name? It's slipping my mind now.
Brian Dable?
No.
Oh, Vrabel.
Vrabel, yeah. Vrabel, he's going to run the hell out of that team too. I mean, he's going to keep Drake May. He's going to be a better version of Tannehill with the limitations, I think, because they still don't have wide receivers, even though they got Diggs. I think you got to protect him, and that's a good way to do it. Build through the trenches, like we said earlier, off the rip. And then, obviously, Mason Graham, kind of surprised the Browns took him. You got to build the line. I think he was the perfect pick there, to be honest with you. You don't take Genty. Their team, like we said, has more holes than Swiss cheese. I guess build up the defensive line. And in part, that makes your defensive backs better because QBs don't have pressure, or they have so much pressure. But, yeah.
Get your phone, Eleanor.
I know everyone decides to text me. No one will text me. We're gonna keep this in there. I'm not editing this out because this happens with Dan all the time.
It does. I know it does.
No one will fucking text me all fucking day. Jeff does fucking 15 minutes of a podcast, 30 minutes of a podcast. Everyone's like, "Oh, let's ping Jeff."
That's hilarious.
It is. It's utterly ridiculous. And maybe I just need to go on here and put "Do Not Disturb" on the old.
That's
laptop,
so funny.
But, yeah, literally every single time. Okay, we got Do Not Disturb on.
All right, so
yeah, but go on.
Yeah, Mason Graham. I don't know, decent pick. They did, they did collect, in a more draft capital in the process to move down only 3 spots. So yeah, I would say it was a good move, right? Because also Travis Hunter. Yeah, I want you to picture Travis Hunter in a Browns uniform. And I know we have a Browns fan in our group chat, and we're just gonna, I don't know if he watches this or not, but imagine seeing Travis Hunter in a Browns uniform and how disappointing that would really be. So I'm happy to see
Yeah.
him go to a place where I think he's actually going to be successful. It works out for the Browns as well. Um, so I personally, though, on Mason Graham, I don't know where the talent, or like maybe I'm not seeing it, but I just don't feel like he's that talented.
So the metrics I've seen a lot, and also what he did at Michigan was actually really good. It's just because he's a big bulky guy that kind of sits in the middle, that's super athletic.
Well, I don't see muscle tone. I just see fat.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
from this dude. I don't know.
yeah, I mean that's obviously something we could go back and forth with, but I do think he's going to pan out nicely with Garrett on the outside. And you know what? The Browns are smart because they got a haul. And I heard on the radio this morning after I was dropping Emmy off at preschool too that we had they had obviously people were talking about the Bears trading up for Genty. It's so annoying. I even have Do Not Disturb on, and it's still going. We can blame Allie because she's asking for coffee, so we're just going to keep this in the podcast too. She's not going to listen, but I'll clip it and send it to her. Anyway, you know, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, the Bears are going to trade up." Vegas thought that based off of all the minus, because we're moving into the next pick. Obviously, the Raiders took Genty. There was a lot of speculation too with, the Bears trading up for Genty and the Jacksonville is going to take him, which didn't make a whole lot of sense.
No.
It was a pipe dream. I will say that for the Bears to take Genty. I think everyone just saw what Gibbs was, and Gibbs is not Genty. I think they're two completely different players. I think they're very, very, very good. Don't get me wrong, but different mindsets. And I think Genty going to the Raiders, apparently they knew a month in advance. That's why Genty's whole crew was decked out in like Raiders stuff or Raiders colors, because they knew a month ago. So it was all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah, he's been on every mock, right? Like that's no surprise. It's either been the Raiders or the Bears, and then if they wanted to get him, they were going to have to trade up, and that seemed like a fetch too, right? Because you're going to have to give up one of those seconds that we have, and additionally something else. Yep. And so I don't know, like you knew it was going to happen. The Raiders GM came out and was like, "My son said if I don't draft Genty, that he's going to disown me," which is hilarious.
I mean, you have to. You already got your quarterback for the next 2 to 3 years in Geno Smith. Whether he's good or not, I mean, he's back with Pete Carroll. You got to do that, obviously. And then you just know with how Pete Carroll runs it. The only thing that worries me with Pete Carroll is he likes to do those dual back run, or have multiple running backs filter in. So when it comes to a fantasy standpoint, that's the only thing that kind of scares me. But maybe it's just because he had Ken Walker and he knew that Ken Walker was, made of glass.
So. I was about to literally use that exact reference and literally made of glass canine. And then also it's just like, maybe I'm a little bitter because I wanted him. But you don't have any wide receivers. You have 0 wide receivers, right? You have Trey Tucker. You got nobody on fucking defense besides Jacoby Myers. You got Max Crosby on defense, and then literally a bunch of fucking bums. You got no offensive line, and you're like, you know what? We should go get a running back that we cannot block for. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And fine, Pete Carroll. You want to do that? Go for it, buddy. Well, another career destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong here with any of that. I mean, and what's funny too is like when you get deeper into the back end of this draft too, all that went was linemen too. So it's not even like, any of these teams that really desperately need offensive linemen or defensive linemen, they're not even able to get them. And that's what's funny too is when you look through some of these teams, they just got better. Like a lot of these, teams that made the playoffs, they all took it. Going just real quickly to the back end of it. Donovan Jackson was supposed to be projected to go to the Bears in like the second, or any of these other teams. I'm just using the Bears as an example. He went to Minnesota. Josh Simmons, who Kansas City needed, he went to, he was a tackle. He went. Josh Cornelly Jr., offensive tackle. Like all these guys went near the back end of the draft too. So I don't know. I think you're right. I think it's a mistake that they took Genty, but you have to kind of build around something. And I guess if you run the ball 50 times a game, you got to do it that way. Obviously, in the fantasy aspect for Dynasty, he's your 1-3 behind Bijan and Gibbs with the landing spot. I think he's going to be relied on a lot. I think the talent, I mean, he did go to Boise State, so let's not act like he did go to a big name school and got hit.
There is also that consideration, right? Like, I know they're the one game they played Oregon, they got their ass whooped, but he rushed for 100 yards, and everybody's like, no, see, he can do it against big time teams. It's like, that was a small sample size, brother. That was a small sample size. Everybody else that he ran for those 200 yards against literally was playing on a crutch. Like, those teams were ass. Those defenses were ass.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be the same. I don't, like, especially with no really beefed up offensive line. I I hope for his sake it works out, but fantasy wise, I think he would have been better served on the Bears.
No doubt. I mean,
Right,
absolutely.
but
Like, I would agree with you 100%. I'm not going to bust balls and say, even though I'm kind of laughing at all the meatballs, and not even like our group of friends. It's more of just like the meatballs that go on 670 that, I honestly, I hate 670. I've said it before, but, we're going to take Ashton Genty. He's going to be Gibbs. It's like, it's the same people who compare, Lad McConkey to Cooper Kupp because they're both white, essentially, It's like,
two different players.
two completely different players.
Yeah.
And we saw it. Anyway, you're right. He would have been perfect there. I think he would have been good on Jacksonville too. Jacksonville does have a little bit better of a line. But like we said, I think, okay, so question for you, because we're going to relate it to fantasy. Obviously, he's going to go 1-1. What do you trade for 1-1? What's your like ideal offer? And if you need a second, I got one off the rip that I would go if you have the picks for it.
What you got? Go for it.
All right. Well, if I have picks, if I'm sitting at like, 1-3 and behind, I'm trading at least 2 firsts for him to move up. Hopefully that gets it done because of the landing spot. So it's not this big landing spot that everyone thought with the Bears where he had that opportunity. He's going to have to be relied on a lot. So touches are there, very much like Breece Hall. So him are both similar there. I would also flip Breece Hall for him. I love Breece Hall. I think he's going to get a whole lot of work this year too, given that they don't have any wide receivers with the Jets. So I would try to maybe flip Breece Hall and maybe a second for Genty, just because of the age difference, contractual wise, no Braylon Allen behind him.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. So here's where I was ready. If he had gone to the Bears, I was ready to trade Brock Bowers
Ooh.
to be able to get Genty, because I believed in that much of that the Bears were an optimal landing spot for him. But now that he is on the Raiders, I definitely would take that off the table and like tear it down a level. Maybe
we
thinking
did
about.
We did forget about
who's on my team. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, Jackson Powers, right? Or
no. I meant we forgot about Brock Bowers. That's all you need. Now that Geno Smith has Bowers, and I mean, you don't really need a big stud wide receiver. You could grab one later in the draft. So I mean, like I said,
well, when your tight end gets double covered and then the defense just focuses in on stopping the run, it's problematic.
Yeah, I get it. But I completely it spaced my mind that Vegas had him. I think on my preview show I said Oakland 7 times because it still hasn't clicked that they're in Vegas.
Yeah, I think I would do Malik Neighbors. I think, for just speaking from my team, I think I would do Malik Neighbors for 1-1 to get Genty. Something tells me the 1-1 holders would be like, no, we want more.
I would take, oh my God, if you offered me Neighbors for Genty, essentially, I would pound that. Give me my wide receiver that's 21 years old, and we're going to sit here in 2 years when he overtakes Chase and Jefferson because of this age range. Oh my God.
Yeah.
If you offered that to me, I wish I had 1-1. I might try to go get 1-1 for that now.
I'm pretty deep at wide receiver.
You are. Given your team, you have so many. It doesn't.
Brian Thomas, Neighbors, Bowers might as well be a wide receiver. Roma Dunze. So I think I'm actually gonna. I might float that out there actually, because I think Roma is now about to get pounded with some good targets.
Absolutely,
man, it's an interesting offense now because we'll talk Tet next. Tet at 8, no surprise, right? I kind of saw that one coming.
We skipped over the Jets, but we'll bring up Tet. Yeah, let's go on the. We'll
You
go on.
want to? All right, let's talk about your offensive tackle that you guys draft every year. That doesn't make a difference for the team. Doesn't make them
Oh,
better.
false,
You
false.
don't
Olu
develop
made him better last
anybody.
year. Last
You
year,
don't
Olu did
develop
make him
any
better.
talent on the Jets. You send them off to somewhere else. They win Super Bowls. I don't even know why we're talking about the Jets. It's a poverty
Let's. All right.
franchise. They
Oh my
fucking
God,
can't do shit right with their quarterbacks.
what
Brees Hall
happens?
probably doesn't
Nope,
want to be there. Garrett
he's not
Wilson
a big.
doesn't want to be there.
No,
Like,
they got rid of Rodgers, so everybody wants to be there now. Apparently, everyone hated Rodgers, according to whatever.
don't get me wrong, I can see that. Yeah.
No, we're gonna talk about Armand Membo.
uh,
He's gonna help them because now they. Let's be honest. Pat was right in his comment in our chat yesterday, saying that you got to protect Fields. They did. Last year, did you watch any of Tyron Smith? The dude went from a all Pro Bowl Hall of Fame tackle to literally letting everybody and their mother get by him. As soon as they put in Olu, I can't say his last name, Fasau or whatever.
yeah, another one that you drafted early, right?
He's good. He was really solid.
Okay.
Like if you look at his metrics, he didn't give up any sacks last year in his time that he played. He overtook Tyron easily. They kind of forced him out, and then he retired this year, obviously. But he looked solid. So you have him on the left or right side. Now you bring in Membo to be on the right side. That's a decent offensive line now. Tippin looked good. You still have AVT out of USC. He was an all pro pretty much as well. So I mean, they're going to run the ball. That's pretty much what the Jets are going to do. Outside of Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall, there's really not a whole lot. I mean, Braylon Allen's going to get his touches this year. But, I mean, that's what Aaron Glenn wants to do. He wants to ground and pound it and play defense. So I think it's going to help him. It all depends on Fields. I think that they do address the wide receiver position because obviously all we have is a reject from the Packers and Josh Reynolds. That's not going to get it done. And that's part of the problem with having a GM from Denver. You just start bringing all your old guys back. Believe me, the Sox do that with Chris Getz. It looks like the fucking Royals out there. But honestly, for the Jets, I slept on it a little bit, let it, mold into place. I do like it because, like I said, you have to build the trenches. If you're going to do anything, the team is still young. The offensive line is all under 27. So now it's not like, oh, well, we have to go address this. Now you can address the rest of the draft. You have your core in your line, and you just go from there. And yes, what is Fields going to be? Who knows? But maybe if he's actually protected for once in his life, because the Steelers weren't good at protecting him. He was running for his life there. And obviously we know the Bears kind of ran him out of town too with not protecting him or giving him any weapons too.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving into Tet. I like this landing spot with Carolina. I think him and Bryce Young, for one, their side-by-sides are going to be absolutely hilarious just because of the size difference. I love that because I think Bryce Young is going to be that breakout star this year.
Yeah, no, I think it's an amazing fit. There's no surprises whatsoever. He's been mocked there for quite a while. And then in terms of the QB, I mean, Bryce Young might as well be, or kind of very comparable to Noah Fafita, who is Arizona's quarterback, same size, same weight, basically. Obviously, Bryce Young's a much better quarterback than Noah Fafita. However, so I think you still get like a similar dynamic. So Tet's not, just having to work with a completely different quarterback. But I think it'll help open up Chuba Hubbard a little bit. He's been very consistent coming out of Oklahoma State since he's come into the league, which I think has been a surprise for everybody how good he's been. And then also, it's going to really help Jatavian Sanders, and he's going to have a really big year.
Yeah. If they don't take a tight end too, because I talked highly about this tight end class as well. But no, you know what? Here's my comp for Tet. Tet reminds me a whole hell of a lot of a mixture of Drake London and Mike Evans. Just because
I was going to say Mike Evans, yeah.
Both of them, he moves pretty well. He's not as quick as London, but they move very it's like the yards after catch is very similar. But really like that one. Obviously the next one is Kelvin Banks going to the Saints, offensive tackle. We kind of said that. I think if he was around for the Bears, I think that was obviously the next pick that they were going to do. Protect whoever the quarterback's there. I do like that. Last couple drafts, they've addressed it. They don't have a whole lot of money. But moving into the one that actually matters, Colson Loveland, out of Michigan going to your Chicago Bears. I've seen the comp now, just looking at it, is Sam Laporta. I don't see Sam Laporta there. I could be wrong, but I think you're going to see a whole lot of 2 tight end sets, which is just going to open up the field for DJ Moore. Obviously, whoever the running back is, I fully expect the Bears to draft somebody to complement DeAndre Swift. I know this isn't the Tyler Warren as well, but we'll bring that up after you give me a little bit on Loveland.
Yeah, I mean, this has been on the table. It's been between Genty, Loveland, Warren, Calvin Banks, pretty much since the beginning of mocks, and so I don't know. I think if you look at last year, who had the better year? It's Tyler Warren. It's not even close.
Yeah.
However, the previous year when Colston had JJ, he had the better year. And what keeps being said is that Colston is a better route runner. He's faster. He's much more smooth.
Yeah.
As a player, and I can see it. Tyler Warren kind of runs like a brick.
He does.
You know, he's really blocky.
Is like early Gronk. Like Warren does kind of give off Gronk vibes, but my comp for Warren was George Kittle.
Wow, I think George moves much probably smoother than that.
Yeah, that's why it's like a mixture of the two of them. But I think just the athletic ability at that size,
I think that was what the determining factor truly was. Because if you were going based off of ranking and this previous year, you would have absolutely said Tyler Warren. But based on schematic fit, Colston. So not mad about it. But.
No, and here's the thing too: is a lot of Bears fans are upset about it, not taking Warren, not taking an offensive lineman. Here's the thing: the Bears are going to live and die end of the day by Caleb Williams' performance and what Ben Johnson does with his headset on. It's not going to matter who the hell they're throwing it to. Caleb Williams made a lot of USC receivers look really good.
Yeah.
You know. So, I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think people obviously they always overreact. I think Loveland's a better fit. You're right. I think you have a Cole Kmet. Whether they re-sign him is to be seen. Obviously, he's up after this year, I believe. I think you just have the 2 tight end sets, like I said again. It's going to open up the red zone, and I think Caleb's going to love him. Now, when it comes to fantasy, where would you take him?
Oh, gosh. Somewhere in the second round.
Yeah, because that's there, and then the amount of weapons that the Bears have.
Yeah, like that's not an actual play.
12-team league. I'm taking him 111. I think, maybe 112.
I changed my mind to literally late 2, early 3.
Wow.
He's gonna be irrelevant. He's what? You're you would never start this guy. Nobody would ever start this guy next year and feel good about it.
I think we're seeing, you're right, but I feel like the tight end landscape, we've talked about it before. Tight end was bad for so many years. I think we had a couple of emergence of really good tight ends. I think he actually might do better than Cole Kmet, personally. I think he ends up being a better option because right now, you can't put Cole Kmet in your top 10. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting Loveland even close to my top 10 right now, but to say a late second, I would eat that up all day. Give me I'm thinking late first. Bearing that some of these wide receivers end up places. You're obviously Kansas City's going to take a wide receiver. Everyone's going to fucking blow their loads over it again. We do this year in and year out. Buffalo, they need a wide receiver too. He might get. They might. Obviously, it depends on landing spots, but right now, given the circumstances, even with some of these other landing spots, I'm taking him late first, maybe early second, because I think he can be a 4 or 5 touchdown guy immediately. Because, like I said, Ben Johnson's offense is going to run through, what Caleb Williams can do, and Williams will love the tight ends in that system.
Remains to be seen. I can't say I'm terribly optimistic at the moment. Just because DJ's still got to get his, Rome's got to get his, Komet's got to get his. Our future running back, because Swift is ass, and I'll stand on that one forever.
Yep. You're right.
He's got to get his. Too many mouths to feed. Absolutely. So We'll see.
Moving quickly through the next couple teams. San Francisco took McKill Williams, edge rusher out of Georgia. Like that one, they needed that. Tyler Booker went
That's a
to
good one.
Cowboys. They really needed a lineman, so I kept seeing obviously Hampton going there. Didn't make much sense because they have no line whatsoever. People have in their mind that Dallas has this great line. That's 2-3 years ago now, and that's even pushing it. And then Kenneth Grant going to out of Michigan went to Miami. I think that's another good plug and play. I think he's going to be great. Plug up some holes. Now, fantasy aspect, Tyler Warren did go to the Colts, who desperately needed a playmaking tight end.
Mo Alley Cox, what are you talking about? Come on, man.
What, the 6'7" guy that's been around for 5 years that never seems to do anything?
He has one game where he has 150 yards and 2 touchdowns every year. Right. It surely happens.
Yeah, I mean Warren's going to be limited because who his quarterback is. Absolutely. If AR can actually stay healthy and actually hit his tight ends and listen to what the system should be, I think we have a good sample size of what he could do. But the team once again, he's going to be limited. It's like a Michael Pittman issue where they don't throw the ball. They run the ball with JT, and then AR runs it still. I mean, the problem, and then it's a lot of mouths to feed. I think Warren will end up being in the top 12. It was generational talent right there still with Tyler Warren. I think you also have, the perfect landing spot because they desperately needed him. But
generational talent, huh?
Yeah. I think he slots in the top potentially top 5. I think he has a better outlook than Trey McBride.
Wow. Okay. But that one, we're gonna run the tape back on that one next year and see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, the dude literally tore apart multiple teams. I mean, Penn State was a good team, but I mean, he put out, and he's a giant. He's 6'6", 250.
I mean, Colston's 6'5" and 3/4 in that same weight.
Yeah, the landing spot's different though. I think if you have, I like I said, that's why I said I like Loveland. Where do you take Tyler Warren now in your rookie draft?
I put him late 1.
I'm taking him 1-4.
Jesus Christ.
Right now, my 1-5 through 5, and this is a couple of guys I don't even drafted yet. Obviously, you're going 1, you're going Genty. 2, Hunter. 3, I'm going with Hampton. Really like that landing spot. We'll jump on that in a little bit. Tech going 4, and then Warren's got to go 5, and then maybe 6 goes Ward. And I'm going off of talent. And Henderson, I'm wherever he ends up today, I'm throwing him maybe above Ward. Maybe it's just because my teams don't need QBs currently, but
sure. I mean, Golden.
Yeah, we'll jump into him too, but not in the top 5. But
I'd put him above Warren though.
I might be missing some. I might have to sit and watch some more tape on Golden. I'm just not impressed.
No.
We'll run through it because we're almost there to that pick too. But Jalen Walker going to Georgia, or out of Georgia, staying in Georgia, going to the Falcons. They need to build up that defense. Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss, defense tackle, going to Arizona. Shamir Stewart, another good edge rusher, going to Bengals, pretty much a replacement for Hendrickson. Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State, getting a guard to protect Sam Darnold in Seattle. And then Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State, going to the Bucks. That one was kind of a shock to me because, you have Godwin, you have Evans. Yes, they're getting older, but you also had Jalen McMillan, who looked really good last year.
I completely agree with you. I'm not quite sure what's about to happen here. We're going to go ahead and take a guess and say Jalen McMillan has been put on the block since last night.
I think, I mean, because they're not going to run a 4 wide receiver set virtually ever. So I think the proof is in the pudding, or they just don't trust Godwin to either stay healthy or still be on the team in a year or two, because he does have an out after 27. So
okay, well, it's definitely possible.
So, Ibuka, I'm putting him at 1-8 currently in my rookie draft rankings. I like the talent. I think he was good at Ohio State. I think he got slept on quite a bit because he did return, but like that spot for him. And then J.D. Barron out of Texas, corner, went to the Broncos. Surprised they didn't go running back, but they once again have some other holes.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, to Steelers. And then Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, probably your 1-2 running back. Or your, not 1-2, your number 2 running back so far.
Yeah.
Going to a run-heavy offense, I love that.
I don't know how I feel about it with Najee just signing there. Obviously, it's going to be a 1A, 1B situation now, and then in terms for fantasy, I think that hurts him. But I actually I don't know. I don't know if that was actually the best pick. They obviously don't believe in Najee too
No,
much. Um,
1 year
which he
deal,
was
right?
which yeah, 1 year deal. He was a cheap signing. Um, wide receivers, Quentin Johnson's had a pretty decent year. They got McConkey. Tight
Eight,
end is
8 or 9
Disley, I
touchdowns.
believe.
Yeah, Disley.
Yeah,
So they'll probably address that in the draft too. I mean, because I think tight end wise, I think there's like 1 or 2 more that I can think of that would be pretty good fits there. I mean, that's the thing too is like Harbaugh always has wanted to establish the run. I could see them taking Elijah or maybe Mason Taylor, and
sure.
he would fit and take him later in the draft, and those guys are going to fit in perfectly. And you needed running. They needed a running back desperately too behind Najee because yes, he's going to get fed, but I also think it could be a very nice 1A, 1B situation, like you said. So, top 3 still currently, unless I see another landing spot that changes my mind on that. Um, next up, we do have Matthew Golden out of Texas, went to the Packers. The reason I'm really hesitant on this is because the Packers have drafted so many goddamn wide receivers since Rodgers left, and they all seem to be just these like middling guys that just seem to have one good game. And maybe I'm just thinking the fantasy aspect of it. You never know who you're going to start. Jalen Reed came on the scene last season. Great first 3 games. Then he fell off the rest of the season. Romeo Dobbs has his games. Watson's out because he tore his ACL, so he might not be out there this year. Watson has his,
Jesus. Hamstring, ACL.
and then you have Dontavian Wicks too, who has all the talent in the world.
That's
But
right.
I mean, so I don't
Well,
know.
we're gonna see. The pick is. I mean, his stock rose because of the 4.29. That was
And don't
basically about it.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Him landing there is it's going to be good for him because, like I said, Watson's out and he can stretch the field. Now, whether or not the Packers choose to utilize that is to be seen. He's not. I don't see a Devonte Adams type where he can take over the game, though. I just don't see that. Maybe I got to watch more
Hmm.
tape. I don't know ball, so I'm like that's like the only one I'm kind of hesitant on. Whipping through the back end, we kind of already touched on it though. Donovan Jackson
Yep.
protecting JJ, that's going to be fun in Minnesota. Then Jackson Dart going to the Giants. They did trade up to get him, so do like that. He'll sit a year behind Russ and Jameis, so we're not going to see him start right away.
Yep. No pressure. That's really good for him. They didn't end up when they traded back into the first round. I was pretty sure that it was going to be Shadur, and just goes to show, man. Like you gotta be your shit. You gotta think your shit don't stink, right? Like or not think that. And I don't know. It's poetic justice. Like you
Yeah.
sat there, your dad gassed you up as this generational prospect, top 5. Those posts are going crazy right now. Those reposts of Dion saying that. You
Oh yeah.
sat there and just said, all this shit about how great you were. He even in his little speech last night to his family was like, "We know this shouldn't have happened." Just shut the fuck up, dude. Just
Yeah.
shut the fuck up. Take it like a fucking man. You're gonna get drafted today, but yeah, like even in those moments, he still can't let it go. He
Right.
still can't let it go, and he's got to say something. And it's just like, bro, this is the shit that probably led you to not getting drafted. Is that exact? Um, he's a Nepo baby, right? Like this guy thinks he's actually like persevered through shit and all sorts of things, and that's crazy to actually hear coming from him. Um, but yeah, Jackson Dart, we love it. Former Trojan, transferred to Ole Miss, had a huge 2 years. lot bigger of a quarterback than I thought. I think he gained a
Yes,
lot of. I think he gained a lot of
6'2".
size when he went to Ole Miss. Because when he was at USC, he was definitely kind of thinner.
Yeah, he was a
So I
freshman.
think,
He was like 18, so understandably
yeah,
so. But playing in the
sure.
SEC, I actually like this. I broke him down on a TikTok already to put that content out there. But I love Jackson Dart, not just because he played at SC, but just the talent. I mean, he's a mobile quarterback, but like that's not what defines him. Not a Jalen Milroe, where I had to laugh that he even attended the draft. Like he wasn't going first round.
No.
But back to Jackson Dart, I like it. I like the landing spot. I mean, anytime that you could have a number one wide receiver in Malik Neighbors like that and have time to actually sit behind people and learn, I think we're talking he might be the best one out of this class outside of Ward.
It's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible.
So, position or skill players. That's about it. Obviously James Pierce Jr. got traded up for obviously with the Falcons. Like I said, he was actually projected to go
1-1.
and
Also an attitude guy.
Yeah, he is. Tennessee.
Another attitude guy with fucking thinking because his projection was 1-1. They said literally this dude in July, after like those projections came out, just turned into this fucking arrogant motherfucker, and then it became an issue of like he wanted to self-preserve, and that's why he wasn't on the field as much. Like some of these fucking people in this NIL shit is crazy.
Dan and I talked about it
It's
on the last pod too about Nico and that whole mess. I broke it down for him because he's obviously not a big college guy, and he was like, that just sounds ridiculous. How much these guys are getting paid, and they can pick and choose where they want to play and when they want to play.
it's the best thing Tennessee could have ever done
Yeah,
was
I
put
love
the
it.
foot down and be like, "Oh, you think you're gonna strong arm us? Peace."
Yep,
Exactly. Because now you get Joey Aguilar for a year. They already have a 4-star incoming. Like they're Tennessee. They're not. They don't need you as much as you think they need you, Nico. And now your dumbass is going to go to UCLA, probably have a mediocre career at best.
Yep. Not get
Um,
drafted until the 5th round or 3rd round when
yeah,
all's said and done. But yeah, the last guy I'm going to bring up because obviously we kind of touched on just tackles and linebackers went in the back end of the draft, but Malachi Stark's going to Baltimore.
crazy.
We're
Yeah,
talking. If you're putting money, defensive rookie of the year next year, calling it right now.
yeah. That defense is just
Over
going to be
Carter.
unreal.
Yeah, I mean he gets to learn from Kyle Hamilton, and then who's their corner that's really good out there?
Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah, gets to learn from Marlon Humphrey. So I
You
mean,
get Roquan, you get just I
Roquan too.
mean it's unbelievable. Patrick Queen on there? Did he go to the Steelers? Or did
Steelers.
that go Steelers? Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of
Um
he was another guy opened his mouth and
yes
got
he
through
did.
it.
That's right, last year.
Yep.
But I would say arguably, man, the value picks at the back end of the round are pretty crazy sometimes because like Jahad Campbell at 31.
That's a steal too. Going to
Yeah,
the Eagles just find a way to get all these linebackers. Like Nolan Smith took a year, but he looked good. Our guy Nakobe Dean too.
we love Nakobe Dean.
I know we.
Bond.
That's a card I want to get is a Nakobe Dean. I've seen his jerseys go on pristine too, and I'm like, oh, do I want one? I'm like, what do I would do with it?
Right, yeah, that's we love Nakobe Dean. Good fantasy production on from the linebacker position.
Those Georgia
Um,
Bulldogs, the ones that actually made it in the league. I mean, Jalen Carter kind of sounds like he's an awful person, but I mean, dude is just an animal.
we know that though. We knew that. That's why the Bears were like, we're not picking you.
Might be a regret there, but anyway, yeah.
To get Caleb, there is no regrets.
Oh yeah, 100%. No regrets. I forgot to ask you, where do you put Golden on your fantasy rookie draft?
He's probably going to be like between the 6 and 9
right?
range.
Yeah, 6
Yeah.
and 9 seems like an appropriate spot. He's still in my first
6
round.
to 9. Yeah, oh, for
He'll be my
sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, these running backs that are going to go off the board today is going to be
That's going to decide.
Henderson's
Yeah,
going to go 1-4 unless he ends up somewhere stupid like Baltimore,
yeah.
which he won't because he's going to go early second.
Judkins, Caleb Johnson are all going to go within the first
Scaffold
10,
probably
15
third
picks.
round.
Scatabo, the Peyton Hillis. That guy's fucking
Peyton
gonna
Hillis.
be
Couldn't think of
gonna,
that name
he's gonna be
yesterday. I
done.
was
He's gonna be done in a year. Um,
maybe I don't know. He's got a lot of energy, dude.
they all do when they come out. I
I mean,
don't-
he's gotten hit in the head a couple times too, but I think we could close it out there. Obviously, it's gonna be a fun weekend. We'll probably do a recap at some point too. Of these potential fantasy landing spots because that's what honestly matters. So we'll close it out there. Any closing out arguments? Any closing words?
Big day. I mean, Bears got 2 picks. It should be running back either Trey Judkins, Caleb Johnson, and then the second pick is probably going to be an edge rusher. Maybe, hopefully, Mike Green, who was slated to be in the first round. Maybe we can snag him. There's definitely a couple tackles that are I can't even, a guy from Minnesota. It's about as best as I can give you.
I got it.
Um,
I'll get his name.
something with an E.
Oh, now I know why you don't know it. I can't even say this guy's first name. Ararante, which I'm always bad with names. We know this. Ararante Suri.
Yes. So I guess this guy is also a dog. Hopefully he would be a nice addition to the line.
Yep.
Browns got 2 picks. We're gonna find out where Shadur goes. We're gonna find out quite a bit today. Today's definitely because it's 2 and 3 today.
I think so.
Yeah.
2 and
So
3.
and then 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe, or is it 2, 3, 4 today and then 5, 6, 7?
Yep,
But
you got it. Yeah, I think it's 2 through 4, and then which is weird that it starts at freaking 4. Oh, maybe it's 4 through 7 tomorrow on
that could be
Sunday.
it.
No, because today's only Friday, so I think it's 2 and 3 tonight. I don't know how it goes actually. It's been so long. I don't know.
Sure. All I do know though is that because of the Bears not getting Gente, I can now afford to get Bears cards next year because Caleb will be in his second year. The chase is over. I can get his cards at a reasonable price. So very excited about that. Whew. Yeah, I'm gonna have to make a video and show my no less than 60,
Yeah,
70
pass
Caleb
it along.
cards that I have.
Pass it along, and we'll go through, or and I'll post it on the Gabagools side.
It's a good one.
Yep, awesome. Thanks for hopping on, buddy.
Yep. Peace.